The air in rural Kentucky was still thick with smoke after the barn fire. Ash clung to the rafters, the scent of burned hay mixing with the sharp sting of wet wood where firefighters had doused the flames only moments before. Shouts filled the night, boots stomping over mud as people rushed in and out, tugging ropes, guiding panicked horses toward safety. Amidst the chaos, a tall, broad-shouldered man named John Harris strained to lead a chestnut mare out through the heavy doors, his face blackened with soot and streaked with sweat. One by one, the animals bolted toward the open field, nostrils flaring, eyes wide with terror. Each one obeyed the urgent hands pulling them free, except for one. A bay stallion, muscles rippling under a coat slick with moisture, stopped dead in the doorway. He braced his hooves against the straw-strewn ground, his sides heaving, refusing to take another step. John tugged hard on the rope, his voice rough and desperate, but the horse wouldn't budge. The others shouted at him to drag it, but the animal's weight was immovable, his resolve deeper than fear. The stallion's chest rose and fell with violent breaths. His ears twitched back, not toward the open air of safety, but toward a dim corner behind him. His eyes, wide and gleaming in the flickering light, kept darting toward the shadows, as if something tethered him to the smoke-filled barn. John followed the horse's gaze for a fleeting second, but all he could see was dust and the mess of collapsed hay bales. Still, there was something unsettling about the way the animal stood his ground, as though protecting a secret. Shouts grew sharper. "Get him out, John, before the roof goes!" The man's heart thudded in his chest. The timbers above creaked ominously, ash drifting down like dark snowflakes. John yanked harder, feeling the rope bite into his palms, but the horse shoved backward, slamming its body against the stall door, refusing to step into safety. The noise of its hooves striking the wood echoed through the half-collapsed barn, a sound so raw it drowned out every other cry. Then through the haze, a faint sound cut through, a high, broken cry, almost swallowed by the crackle of dying embers. John froze, the rope slack in his hands. The horse's ears pricked toward the sound, nostrils flaring. It wasn't a sound of fire, nor of wood splitting, but of something alive, something fragile. Another cry followed, weaker this time, almost lost in the smoldering dark. John crouched low, scanning the corner where the horse's gaze locked. There, half buried beneath straw, was a tiny shape trembling. A kitten, orange beneath the soot, its once bright fur dulled to a dusty ember, let out another weak mule. Its body seemed impossibly small against the chaos around it, paws twitching as if begging for air. John's throat tightened. He hadn't even seen it before, yet the stallion had. The realization struck with sudden clarity. The horse hadn't been frozen in fear, he had been standing guard. His every ounce of resistance, every ounce of strength pressed against John's pull had been for this fragile life hidden in the shadows. John's eyes burned, though whether from the smoke or from something deeper, he couldn't say. Shouts filled the air again, urging him to hurry, but John stood frozen, the horse pressing against the gate as if daring anyone to leave without the kitten. The fire crackled low, threatening collapse, and the smoke thickened around them. Still, the animal refused to leave, his body angled between danger and the helpless orange creature in the straw. And then, with the entire barn groaning under its own weight, came the moment no one expected. The horse made his choice, and what he did next left everyone stunned. The roar of collapsing beams outside made the urgency unbearable. John lunged toward the corner, shoving broken boards aside until his hand brushed against a trembling ball of fur. The kitten, orange beneath its layer of soot, quivered in his palm, its breath rattling in tiny bursts. Its once bright coat was dulled and ashen,
but streaks of ginger glowed faintly through the grime. He lifted it carefully, cradling its frail body against his chest, feeling its heartbeat stutter beneath his palm. The stallion's head swung down, nostrils brushing the bundle as if to confirm it was safe. Behind him, 2 volunteers rushed in, coughing against the thick haze. They tried once more to drag the stallion through the door, but the animal reared violently, his front hooves striking sparks from the ground. "He won't move!" one shouted, frustration rising above the chaos. The horse pressed himself harder against the gate, his massive body a wall no rope could shift. John shouted back, his voice hoarse, "Wait! He won't go until this little one's out." The men exchanged baffled looks, but when John turned and raised the soot-streaked orange kitten into the air, its weak cry pierced the barn louder than the crackling timbers. For a moment, everything seemed to pause. The fire's hiss, the frantic commands, even the stallion's frenzy. His ears flicked forward, his entire frame softening. Then, with the smallest step, he shifted toward John, eyes locked on the fragile creature pressed against the man's chest. John didn't hesitate. He clutched the kitten close and tugged gently at the rope once more. This time, the stallion moved. Not with resistance, not with fear, but with a strange, deliberate calm, as though the horse himself had decided the moment was right. The volunteers scrambled aside, astonished, watching the massive animal stride through the doorway only after the kitten had been secured. The sudden rush of cool night air hit John like a wave as they stumbled into the field. The stallion threw his head high, nostrils wide, scanning the open sky as if finally freed. Yet his gaze kept flicking back to the orange kitten nestled against John's chest, unwilling to rest until the smallest life had crossed into safety with him. The crowd that had gathered, farmhands, firefighters, neighbors, stood in stunned silence. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to hold still. Then whispers rose. "Did you see that?" One woman gasped, her hand covering her mouth. Another man shook his head, eyes wide. He wouldn't move, not without the cat. A young boy clutched his mother's coat and pointed, eyes shining with awe. Cameras lifted, phones recording, capturing a scene no one would have believed had they not witnessed it. A stallion who risked the fire's hunger for a creature that could not defend itself. John lowered to his knees in the damp grass, letting the orange kitten rest in a blanket offered by a firefighter. The tiny chest still rose and fell, fragile but alive. The stallion circled once, then stopped beside them, lowering his great head until his muzzle brushed the bundle softly. The crowd gasped again, but John felt only a profound stillness, a strange reverence that seemed to ripple through the night air. The fire raged behind them, but no one could look away from the pair in front of them. It was not the barn collapsing into embers that held them. It was the bond that had just been revealed in the middle of danger. The horse had guarded something no one else had seen, and his refusal had saved a life. Yet, as extraordinary as that was, it wasn't the end, because what came after would leave everyone even more moved than the fire itself.